soul in a wonderland without angels. That is how I feel when the mirror shows me a stranger. Yeah. And I know they're just fragments of a world where your absence all I get to see. Take me back to the planet where you and I are still meant to be. 'Cause I'm incomplete when you ain't by my side, when you don't wake up next to me. Yeah, I'm incomplete. I need you here tonight to cover up these empty sheets. 'Cause I'm incomplete. Yeah, I'm incomplete. Hey, 'cause I'm incomplete. I need you here tonight to cover up these empty sheets. 'Cause I'm incomplete. But it won't be long before I realize it's a picture in my head, in my head. And I know they're just fragments of a world where your absence all I get to see. Take me back to the planet where you and I are still meant to be. 'Cause I'm incomplete when you ain't by my side, when you don't wake up next to me. Yeah, I'm incomplete. I need you here tonight to cover up these empty sheets. 'Cause I'm incomplete. I'm incomplete. I need you here tonight to cover up these empty sheets. 'Cause I'm incomplete. to go. Telling me I have 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 to go.
And we are live with week 1 of the European Challengers Cup Summer Split. I am Soza, joined today by Freight Train. And Freight, it's been a while since we've seen some good European Smite.
Man, I am so ready for this, but we've got some surprising entries into the European CC.
Yeah, we have Sanguine Esports having fallen down from the SPL, going up against New Game Plus, who was one of the staple teams playing around last year, did fall out of the top 2 thanks to the Poppies and OG playing incredibly well towards the end of the split last. But this time around, New Game Plus, I gotta say, they're probably hungry for revenge here. And what better way to make a mark than going toe-to-toe with the former SPL team?
I mean, New Game Plus is just, it's still got Repicasa on here. It's still got Game Hunter, Murder. There's the people on New Game Plus are not unfamiliar names. They think they belong in the SPL. Sanguine, you know, they were the bottom EU seed. They're going to have to prove themselves in this new challenger circuit.
And one way to do that is by playing against the best of the amateur region. That way you're getting the experience you need to finally fight your way back in. However, bans coming out, Ravana, Fafnir, Terra, and Circuit all taken away. No real surprise there to see these gone.
No, this is pretty standard, even NA/EU. The Fafnir has been one of the most contested choices overall. But all of a sudden, I mean, remember the days, Sosa, when we used to counter pick solo lane? Now we just first pick Osiris.
They're so powerful, especially like the big picks of solo lane, Bologna, Osiris. They're so important that they aren't picked or banned or picked away immediately. You're going to want to look into them here. And I assume we're going to see New Game Plus look for the solo laner a little bit earlier, or they might just leave it to fall and maybe pull out some different strategy versus the Osiris.
Well, I mean,
they still got to ignore, though.
They still got 2 more picks. I mean, but, you know, Sanguine will get the next 2 over here. I mean, as Cernanos is locked in. I mean, top-tier hunter, obviously. Even with the slight nerf that he got with his Bramble Blast, still one of the best hunters in the game as far as what he can produce. So Sanguine's going to get the next 2. New game, as you said, I think they'll end up probably locking in that solo laner in that 3rd selection. But Sanguine going to go with the Kepri.
Yeah, solid support pickup here. Still a big staple of the duo lane here. Plenty of push pressure. Plenty of decent PL inside these team fights here. And his ultimate is a game changer when it comes to skirmishes and team fights that we tend to see early on in the game now. As we're going around the second round here, as Soul instantly locked in there for that 3rd pickup of Sanguine.
Oh, this could be a flex option. We could see this either in the mid, as you know, old NRG likes to run with zeros. He kind of still runs those Chronos and Souls. He still runs them in the mid lane available. So this could be a flex option. New Game Plus, though, is going to respond with that counter solo laner in the Bologna, which realistically, when it comes to the matchup in solo lane, they're 1 and 2 respectively.
You're going to see one or the other, if not both, that they're available. And that's not really much of a surprise to see. They're the big gods of solo lane here. And honestly, Bologna's constantly kind of been that staple as well, the solo lane. So all in all, standard pickup so far. The Nem ban taken away from the jungle, since there is no jungle picked up quite yet for Sanguine, a good call there.
Nemesis is obviously late game. If this ends up getting past the 30-minute mark, it's kind of like, you know, a lot of gods have this timetable that you can sit there and just turn them on and be like, this is when they're going to be hot. Nemesis is just one of those that if the game gets to the 30-minute mark, you don't want to deal with. Susano, on the other hand, is a god you don't want to deal with at any point in time.
So one thing I actually want to question about here, Frey, is you're the big ADC main of this actual, of the two of us. You're the one who mains ADC. Like, you see a lot of dual lane plays here. A lot of the dual lane seems to have been focused a lot on pressure here. So how do you think these matches are going to play out? And do you think that Sango is going to use the Soul as their actual ADC here, or would you see something else, like possibly a Huyi?
I mean, the Soul is just Hui is just so unpredictable with what you can end up doing in the jungle. I mean, we've seen WoW make plays in SPL. We've seen just in general them make amazing plays. Soul, I think you can build her mid lane-esque and be fine right there. But the Erlong Shen pickup for Sanguine, so one of these two warriors is going jungle, I'm going to imagine.
I'm going to guess Erlong Shen here. That's my bet on who's going to the jungle. Osiris is just such a huge tool for the solo lane that I can't really see them not putting him there. But they could surprise us here. This is EU, and they do tend to pull out a few oddball picks and locations from time to time.
Well, the Khepri should be able to keep these tanky frontliners alive in case they got to get in there and take way too much damage. I mean, but they do have the Thoth here on New Game Plus. Let's not take away from the fact that Thoth, one of the best late game mages with that final judgment. And it looks like Repikas is going to get the Hoonbats right here. Hoonbats is just look, when you make it to 10 selections and Hoonbats isn't taken in the jungle role, you pick Hoonbats.
Not to mention, this is the perfect guide for Repikas. Perfect guide for almost every jungler, and every jungler who plays on any kind of competitive level should have Hoonbats in their arsenal. But it's the big playmaking jungler. As soon as he hits that 5, he's going to demolish somebody. And if we know Repikas for anything, it's his ability to just toss out some huge plays. We've seen it with his Thor on Gold Fury pits and in Poor Demon pits. He is the guy to get in there and make the game happen for New Game Plus. So excited to see him on a very stable guide.
Yeah, New Game Plus, though, is going to have a little bit. Sanguine has a very tanky 3-man lineup here with Mike the Magikarp on top of the Erlong. And then all of a sudden you got the Khepri plus the full on top of the Osiris. Really, New Game Plus has to look for these picks as soon as possible. Like I said, as soon as Repi hits 5, you got to look for these ganks.
And we're probably going to see that happen in the mid lane here. I'd like to put a lot of pressure here and try to shove this down as much as I can here. It looks like Balone has actually played the support role here with that Vastrical sitting in the solo lane as Sobek is. So there should be an interesting duel happening over here in the duo lane.
That is kind of, Balona is the support. Okay, Murder's going to be running this in the support role. I mean, I do find it pretty interesting that they're going to run the Balona there into the duo lane.
What about it is going to help them most here? What do you think Bologna is the pickup that they want to go for the solo lane here? Actually, we see a bit of a fight breaking out here. Meowth taking a bit of damage here, but Murder taking the worst of the trade. Game Under is too far away to actually trade anything in as well. So a good defense from Sanguine, but still losing their little minions, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the whole concept is you can really outclear with the bludgeon, right? This is what they're trying to do, bludgeon down. But, I mean, Murder just taking a lot of poke. Hopefully, I mean, with no Death Stole, you can't cleave off those autos anymore. That's the whole concept of Bologna.
I think it would have worked there if Murder had taken so much damage going into that fight there. I saw what they kind of do. Like I said, they wanted to outclear, they wanted to shove in and take that purple buff away, or at least take away all the little small minions and force Sanguine away without letting them hit level 2. But since Murder took so much damage, they just couldn't really make it work out in that actual invade, and it just kind of fizzled out there. It didn't fail, but it didn't really work.
Well, I am worried, like I said, with the Vascarol being on the Sobek that's in the soul lane, how well are they going to be able to make these rotations? I mean, they got to be looking to try to get these rotations on early because that's the only hard CC is the knock up, and really the pluck coming out. Murder has, Scourge, but his only ultimate and hard CC is on his ult.
We're going to see Repikas actually try to make some more pressure in the solo lane here. Free up Vasco, let him rotate as much as he can, and just trust Arrow to clear out the wave as much as he can, so they can actually rely on that Sobek CC in these upcoming skirmishes.
Well, the best thing about having a Sobek in the solo lane is that he really just, in general, won't truly ever lose the lane. He has the Sickle Strike able to heal up. He should be okay. And again, look at what he's doing right now. I mean, just it's boring. He's sitting there. But he's last hitting the wave, making sure Osiris can't get any more pressure than required, loses any minions that he needs, and he's playing the Guardian in the solo lane exactly the way you need to, slow and steady.
It's not the most fun or explosive kind of solo lane here, and I don't expect to actually see any real
mid lane
happen solo lane here. There's a big fight happening mid. Caro putting down the damage. Pretty Pan barely escaping Murder, hunting along the side, but no real way in. Pretty Pan is safe and sound under his tower and does indeed have access to his ultimate now, so it's a little bit too risky here, but this does free up New Game Plus actually putting some pressure in the jungle and taking control of their own.
Well, the beads were used in that engagement, and now that Repikas is 5, he's probably going to be looking for some target. And, well, what better than Pretty Pen if he doesn't have those purification beads available? Should be able to take them down pretty easily. I mean, Boots 2 only online, obviously going to elect for the Tiny Trinket, so he still doesn't have the full Boots or the mobility or even the power online. So, like I said, Repi could easily make a gank, but he's looking left.
He's looking left, and that's probably going to be where he puts it down. However, now they are going to actually back away here. Sanguine kind of sniffed that one out, and Repikas just going to back off. Now the buffs are starting to respawn a bit in the New Game Plus jungle here and the back camp, so we should see them just look to hold on to things. And this is going to give Sanguine enough time to just catch a breath and start pushing back their lane.
Well, let's take a look at the fact that everyone's been talking about it. If you're a SMITE fan, we've been talking about Sunder. Meowth has a Sunder on the Khepri. I mean, that's the support now carrying the offensive items. I mean, really, that's just, they're looking to play aggressive.
It's just so dangerous for the enemy team to have to deal with that Sunder here. Having one early is going to enable so many gank potential in the duo lane here. It's going to put a lot of pressure on the enemy duo here. And if you get them down at any point, you're going to be free access for any kind of major push you want to take here. As now Mike the Magikarp in position to possibly contest the speed camp, but New Game Plus rallied around and ready to fight. They have good position here. Vashkel in a position to flank as well if he needs to. So Sanguine Esports is going to back off. It's way too risky to fight over that right now.
I love both teams though, just recognizing, hey, their speed buffs up, having the timers up and available, and knowing that's exactly where they need to be at. But still, a lot of dangerous. But you don't want to be in this corner with the Hoonbots that has his ultimate, can kind of sniff you out. But everyone kind of walking around. It looks like instead of speed, blue team Sanguine going to end up grabbing the red buff, so they'll get something out of this invade.
And they're going to actually walk away and walk towards the gold here, start putting up some posturing and some vision on it as well. And one of the things I think that actually works out in favor of, but that actually makes these rosters so impressive here, while they're on top of these timers here, is that there are a lot of veteran players in this game right here. Most of these players, like all 10 of these guys, have been in the SPL at some point, so they know the timers by heart, and they're going to be contesting as much as they can here. And they also know each other's power spikes, so they're not going to take these really, really risky or bad engagements most of the time.
Well, yeah, I mean, look at the spikes right now. We've got the mid lane Thought that has the pen boots online. He's ready to fight if need be, whereas Soul still needs to go ahead and back and get the boots 3. I mean, really, that's obviously the first major power spike is always going to be boots 3. So as soon as you can get those online and you can see the counterpart doesn't have it, you kind of want to try to pick a fight here. But both teams at the 5-minute mark just taking it very slowly. I mean, Sanguine has the smallest of leads in like 300 gold, which is about a wave or so, but not a lot going on.
They've got the lead, but they don't quite have the power where they need it at this point in the game. So New Game Plus are in a position of power if they want to push it right now.
And again, the rotations, Repicos not happy that their red buff got taken. Maybe to look make something happen here on that side of the map. But again, the ping's coming along. Both teams warded up decently on this side, so they see the vision. But one more time, 3-man invade. Red buff is going to go the way of... Oh, Fal's going to get grabbed, though.
Yeah, soft grab, no real follow-up available on him here. Mike the Magikarp finally rotating in. Will start to look for some kind of grab here, but just throws at his pin, pins out 2 targets, grabs in the taunt here, but immediately Hugi dropping down the Suns. Game Hunter forced to run for dear life. Good Eagles Valley there. Bologna tossing down the damage. Joshi forced out of this engagement here as Carol will back away from here. A lot of blood, but no real deaths just yet. This will enable New Game Plus to snag those Vision Harpies as they walk away towards the Gold Fury pit. So they're going to come out okay in this one, despite so much being blown there.
There was 9 ultimate. The only person that didn't ult was the full because he was rotating from solo lane. 9 ultimates get used and no one dies? What?
That was a lot of close calls.
That's rare that you could sit there and say, "But well, you know, I saw a team fight one time at Smite. 9 ultimates got used. No one died." Like
when Joshua came in and landed just the massive Sunbreaker in the middle of 3 people there, especially after we saw the 3-man taunt from Mike the Magikarp, I thought that was game over for New Game Plus in that fight. But a cool head for them. They pulled out. They didn't panic, and they just pulled away as fast and as safely as they could. So all in all, well played by them to actually escape that death chamber.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like they were trying. Kiro had the final judgment primed and ready to go. It actually had a good positioning to fire it off, but the Fear No Evil, that ends up ending, and then all of a sudden the person moves, so he misses the final shot. Since he's unable to connect on that, really, again, the one person that could have died walks away scot-free, but either way, there was Kepriult that was used. I mean, the whole engagement was played very well by both teams. I mean, but as you said, really, New Game Plus wins the engagement because they do get the Harpy or the Oracles, so they have some free vision around the Gold Fury. I mean, so technically, since no one died,
they still got what they wanted.
Yeah,
they still got the red buff.
They got red buff and Oracles, so I mean, the small victories are what will get you to the top here. I mean, we're looking at a tied game at 7.5 minutes. I mean, at this point, this is, you don't see a lot of 0-0 games, and I actually like it because it is going to be closely contested. This is where one small positioning error or, you know, one small rotation error can end up costing you.
And I guess the big question is how much this has to do with possible nerves here. This is the first game of the Summer Slipper Challengers Cup. There is a lot on line. You don't want to show too much here, but you also want to measure out your teams. How much is you think the teams are trying to measure their aggression and measure their skill against each other right now?
Well, week one, for week one, it's definitely a lot of this. This could probably go, I mean, you can see some of these first week games go into the 30-minute mark to kind of feel each other out. Once everyone gets the understanding of, okay, hey, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do, all of a sudden maybe you'll see the quicker games, the 20 to 25-minute ones, once they get a better understanding. But, you know, hey, Sanguine's got some new players on board. You can't necessarily do the homework on it. New Game Plus has been here a while. Sanguine could obviously have watched some stuff on there. Either way, I mean, it comes down to Sanguine being a little relatively new, even though they were in SPL, but with new players, you got to learn new habits.
You got to learn new habits, and Pretty Pan actually is going to escape with that one. Meowek putting a good habit down, actually keeping his AD carry safe, preemptively dropping the ulti as well. Wasn't going to get popped, but it's just for that safety's sake. However, Sanguine Esports are now on the back foot here as New Game Plus putting up the pressure. We did see Sanguine actually secure their red buff there. They can't get him to take it away just yet, but New Game Plus will probably give ground soon enough here. Theranos will drop the Bramble Patch down. Meowek trying his best to feel for his team, but I'm going to put him in a dangerous position here. Will grab somebody, but now he's in the wrong place, wrong time. Caro going to obliterate him over the wall. Now Mike the Magikarp in deep, tossing up the damage here. Soul raining his shots, but nobody getting knocked up there. Repicos on the run, and he should fall down. Mike the Magikarp does secure that kill as well, and now Caro, too low on mana, too low on health to really pump out any kind of damage. Will use the dash wall combo to get himself to safety. Game Hunter trying to buy some time, but these oracles are going to have to be forfeit. Game Hunter might try to make something happen, though. It's going to be a close call to decide to engage on.
I mean, you can maybe, yeah, I mean, they'll end up getting both of them. I don't think that's that big of a deal. Game Hunter trying. Obviously, the vision will end up going New Game Plus, but really the story, First Blood finally taken down. Giro gets credit for the First Blood. He'll get a little bit of extra gold to his name. He's going to work on the Spear right now. It looks like, yeah, probably going toward that Spear of Desolation already nice and early on with the First Blood money. But Rebicos falls in return. So, I mean, it ends up being a 1-1 trade, but Kiro's going to have a little bit of extra gold to his name.
At the same time, though, I have to say I like where the kill went to on New Game Plus here. They got the kill on the Thoth here. Somebody's going to get very, very dangerous with that First Blood gold. Now, while it was Mike Magikarp who got the kill there, he's still going to get very tanky and dangerous as this game goes on, so you don't have to worry about that potential for him to slaughter and charge the backline. But I think the First Blood gold going the way of Thoth is going to be a lot more important here for New Game Plus.
I always find it interesting when, like, these First Bloods come at, like, 10 minutes, you know, because the bonus doesn't seem as, you know, normally if you can get it pre 2 or 3 minutes or whatever, obviously you can get boots earlier, you have a major power spike, but at 10 minutes, yeah, he's able to pick up level 2 Enchanted Spear. A little bit of he'll have a little bit of an advantage, but it's like not like you can't fight into this. It's already
it's not game ending if you like lose it at first. Like if you lose that First Blood at 10 minutes in here, it's not a Thoth with like a couple extra 100 gold immediately right off the bat as soon as the game starts. So it's not as bad, but it's still a nice boost going the way of New Game Plus here that Sanguine has to worry about.
Ooh, Big Eagles rally actually over the top, plus the Fear to Evil. Repicot's going to clean up 2 all of a sudden, and now the double kill for the jungler after he fell. That was just murder.
And that's
with the Great Eagles rally.
Right yeah, Sanguine. They walked right into the biggest choke point there. They knew exactly where New Game Plus was. That was a bit of an overcommit. They clustered up in a really rough spot, and New Game Plus is a competition that punishes clustering so much right there. It was a bit of a misplay for them as a team, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the vision, too. I mean, you see the blue sentry ward. So, honestly, you got to realize that maybe Repicos and the crew know that there's a ward there. You got to play around wards, and I think they might have been doing that, understanding, hey, they just took out one of our wards. Let's go ahead and play around this area. Maybe that will suck them into it. Murder with the Great Eagles rally gets 3. And then all of a sudden, you got the Fear to Evil. I mean, that was a nice.
That is the textbook perfect fight that you want to go for with a Hoonbot and a Balon on your team. Eagles rally, locking down all 4 people. Fear no Evil, spreading everybody out after the AoEs go down. And Thoth just raining judgment into the middle of a small corridor here. That is absolutely the worst place you can do a fight against this team comp. And they played it perfectly.
Well, right now, let's take a look at the items. I want to talk about a new item that got buffed. We're going to take a look at the Hui. Joshi has the Shifter Shield. So this is going to be a new item. I think we're going to see a lot of hunters grab. I mean, it has so much power. It's actually more than Transcendence when you're above that 50% threshold of health. This is going to be causing some interesting transitions in the meta.
I actually, now there's a good time to talk with us here. How do you feel about the current ADC meta when it comes to the builds right now? We've seen the rise of the Runeforge build as well. We've seen now we're seeing Shifter Shield here. Where do you think you really sit on the fence with these ADC builds?
You know, Glass Cannon was when I first played Smite as actually the Portal Beam. Mike and Eagles rally on Pretty Pan, and then another Fear to Evil going over the top. Mike the Magikarp is going to get the Kepriel, but Game Hunter doesn't matter. He's going to clean up Soul, and now everyone's going to go hunting.
Yeah, Repicos making his way back into the back line of the team. Just peel for them here. Joshi a little bit deep there. Could get picked off here. Just will pull Magikarp back into the fight. Does dash away in that turtle form. Keep himself safe and sound for now. That's going to be the rest of Sanguine escaping. Portal Demon still alive as well. Meowek will back away, and they're not going to catch him. No, they almost do, but a close call will be fine for Meowek right there. Portal Demon should be a guaranteed thing for New Game Plus here. Sanguine had to walk away from some completely here. We might see Mike try to make a play, but I'm not sure if he can actually have the steal here. He's going to get caught out and zoned away by Murder and Basketball here. DeFool will be joining the party as well. Mike Magikarp way overextended there. Will dash out and Turtle almost gets caught out, but does escape harm. Portal Demon now for sure secured by New Game Plus.
Yeah, I mean, they'll get the free pretty much Portal Demon. They got to kill off of it as well. But let's go back to the fact of, like I said, the Shifter Shield now. Now Kurnos even has it. So this item is officially going to have more power again than a Transcendence. It's cheaper. It's more effective. It gives you a little bit of defense. A lot of jungle. I think that building a hybrid item, I've always enjoyed the hybrid items in Smite. They just never really felt like they were in a great state, you know, like the shifters and all that other stuff. Now that this item has like this type of bonus to it, it makes it a lot more effective. And I love the fact that, you know, you'll see hunters build it.
All right, the Rise of Hybrid Hunters, a happy thing for Freight here is now Repicos in position and going to absolutely destroy the enemies here. New Game Plus on a warpath as Game Hunter secures a kill. Mike the Magikarp now locked onto here, but instead they are aiming for these towers, and I think we're going to see the first tower of the game fall here as New Game Plus postured around the mid-tier 1. It's falling incredibly rapidly, and this should be a done deal. Vastral gets his zone on here. Gonna look for the pluck if you can find it, but no need to actually even hit one of those here. You can just push them and zone them away at that point to get what you want.
I mean, that was free. I mean, Mia Week, while I was talking about the Hunters and the Shifter Shield, he was way up by a tier 1 grabbing Murder for really what reason? He was by himself. Speedbuff going to get taken as well. Just really Sanguine with the poor positioning. Kind of got them picked off there. And I said it, like, New Game needs a pick. Like, the Sanguine roster, if they hit 20, they have a very tanky front line that New Game Plus is going to have a little bit of an issue dealing with if they're all able to play together as a team. But if you can get 1 or 2 picks like they're doing, you can easily take this roster down.
It's going to be a very, very easy test from here. Is now New Game Plus holding a 5,000 gold lead. Sanguine Esports in a dangerous position 15 minutes into the game here, and I guess they gotta find something now. And I guess my question is, where's their big chance to come back in this game if they have one, aside from big potential possible?
I mean, let's take a quick peek. I mean, the graphs show a near 5,000 gold and 5,000 experience. This is the biggest turning point for them. I mean, we're at 16 minutes. They've got to find whatever farm they can at this point in time. They've got to get clear vision on the Gold Fury. But speaking of, or Fire Giant, I should say, the Full is forced to ult out. Great grab. There's another ultimate, and the Full will fall. And again, another pick.
I mean, having to use their ult there and still getting caught out and falling in the end, that is a very, very painful position. As now, I gotta say, New Game Plus is probably feeling themselves right here. They're ready to put the pressure on Sanguine Esports on the back foot quite a bit here. And since they're taking a lot of risks, but they do have a chance here. They're getting a pick on a game winner potentially here. Dash away to safety for now, and he's out of dodge already. And Sanguine Esports gonna drop that kill.
Sanguine, if they decide to fight at this Gold Fury, if they lose this and they get wiped, I mean, it's pretty much game over for them at this point. I mean, at 5K down, they've got one big fight left in them, and it's gonna be probably at this Gold Fury here. I mean, they've got to get the vision around this area. If they can fight into this still at 5K down. Reppy just used ultimate. It's about halfway charged. They got to understand this, and they got to make a play happen sooner than later.
Yeah, they make a play happen sooner than later here. Kepler Ultimate drop down, but it's a little bit early there. Mike Magikarp will get his taunt down, should heal up in a few seconds, but he might get burst support. Then no, he will get the heal off, and he will survive. A big kill though from Murder here as his tether about to detonate onto Murder. He's going to get stunned out, but it doesn't quite matter here. As over the wall comes Repicos in for the fight, in for the punishment, but he's going to get flailed down as the Fool picks up a kill with the Spirit Flail. Now Murder a little bit weak here, but Caro dropping in the Judgment Day there. Vastral will pick up Pretty Pan as he's going to finish him off here, bounce around from Joshi, but it's not good enough here. Game Hunter body block behind his own teammate for safety here, and Vastral doing a great job keeping Game Hunter safe while Caro reigns in the punishment. This is a guaranteed Gold Fury, as Meowite can do absolutely nothing against this.
I mean, again, just they kind of walked in Sanguine with just poor positioning about how they decided to get there. Repicos' ultimate wasn't even up, and yet they lose that fight. It's in Kiro's ultimate wasn't up, and they lose that fight. It's like, how? You know, that was really Sanguine's fight to truly win, and they just weren't able to execute it.
It's a little bit worse, especially right now, as now, you said that was their last big fight here. Sanguine Esports now are relying on New Game Plus to make a major
it's pretty much
okay. We've seen Fire Giant throws. I mean, Fire Giant is called the throw pit for a reason, but this is never a position you want to be in any level of Smite play.
Well, the difference is like you have a soul versus the Thoth in the mid lane. This is not a Ra. This is not a Giannis. This isn't a snipe-based character or even like a Nox that can potentially steal this Fire Giant from a distance. This is a soul that has to be very, very close to the pit to be able to execute this. I mean, Kiro has Final Judgment. Even if there was an attempt for Sanguine, he has more steal potential. It's just really the objective secure isn't there other than Josh's sons.
and really this boils it down to the fact they're going to have to rely on New Game Plus making a lot of mistakes and actually fighting the Fire Giant and finding the perfect follow-up fight on the pit here. But now DeFool might get picked off here. Last Judgment absolutely shredding 2 members right there as Replicas finishes the job. DeFool will get a stun off the time as the Tether will fall down, but charge forward from Thought. DeFool is falling faster than grabbing a rock in a very heavy rock in water right there, and he's going to fall right there. Pretty Pan about to get flanked, trapped in the middle of the waters right there. Sobek about to come crashing up as well, should get tossed back by the pluck. His health immediately vanishing to Basketballs lurking in the waters there, and he's gonna get away, but a big message has been sent.
Yeah, force out the Sanctuary by all means. I mean, look at this. This is a Sobek that I believe that says 7 stacks if I'm reading it correctly, and then he has a Ward Stone he's getting built online. He's got the max cooldown reduction. I mean, this is a character that you can't really deal with, and I love the way New Game Plus is playing with this Bologna and the Hoonbots. Those 2 characters, I didn't know how well they were really going to be meshing together, but they just seem to be stacking, and Murder's getting 2 or 3 members in most of his Eagles rallies, and then Replicas is right there to follow up. I mean, so the jungler support working really, really well together, and then as you said, Kiro able to rain down these shots.
And I guess the big question is here, how much of this is Sanguine possibly falling down a bit in tilt and just kind of falling into these traps here, it seems constantly. How much do you think that has to do with what's going on here?
I mean, really, what did Mike the Magic Card do? I'm not trying to well, what did this tank jungler do? I mean, you saw the difference here. Yeah, all of a sudden Replicas died early, but Replicas has had way more of an impact in this game.
He did have a very impressive taunt in one of the earlier fights here, where he and Joshy comboed incredibly well for that Sunbreaker fall, as Hugi just taunted them. Well, not Hugi. Apologies. We got a big taunt off from the Erlang Shen here. That looked really impressive for Sanguine Esports there, and that was their big chance to honestly walk away with that game, I feel. If they had won that team fight up to the Gold Fury, where we saw New Game Plus barely escape their lives, I think we'd be seeing a completely different story right now, with Sanguine Esports possibly holding a rather big lead. But unfortunately, that fell through, and now it just seems like they've kind of been on the back foot ever since then.
Yeah, I mean, that back foot is definitely the right term. They just haven't been able to get anything in. Another Fear No Evil and Magikarp was just wanting to get toward his speed buff, unable to find it. Replicas is going to back in the middle of the fight, isn't even worried about it. Portal Demon is, well, it fell, so he won't be able to walk back directly.
I won't be able to walk back in there like he needs to, and now we're going to see New Game Plus just push forward here. We're going to see a 20-minute surrender here from Sanguine Esports. It was a tough one to pull back. I think it's fair enough to just drop it, move on to the next game, and keep your heads cool because they still have another game to play today.
I am not upset by this. I have the mentality of, look, man, when it's kind of over, when you're 12K down, this is that Gold Fury fight was really the turning point. That was it. That was like, hey, if we lose this, we lose the game. And I think that was kind of really what ended up happening there.
It sucks, but unfortunately, Sanguine going to drop their first game. However, they do have another one to play against, I believe it's Novus Orsa for the next game. So if they can pull that one off, they're going to be in a very, very solid position of 1-1 this week. However, for now, New Game Plus picking up the first win of the summer split, and I gotta say, they looked impressive, Frey.
Yeah, I mean, New Game Plus, I love Replicas. He's been one of my favorite junglers for a long time, and the whole team on that side. I think the Bologna support was a wild card selection, and they brought it out, and they played well with it. That's interesting. If teams start doing that more often, you could really be wary.
Their initial pressure level 1 pressure didn't work out as well as it could have, but at the same time, Murder and Game Hunter played that lane incredibly perfectly. There was so much pressure put onto Joshy and Meowek that they almost really had no real response and completely nullified a lot of what Joshy and Meowek could do in these later fights here. Joshy was set pretty far behind. Same for Meowek. He was level 11 when we saw Murder at 15 as a support here, completely crushing the support role, and that made him so much more effective and great as any support. And if you can just nullify the enemy support, make them unable to actually be that front liner their team needs them to be, especially in a triple front liner comp, you're going to be in the perfect position to actually win these big team fights.
Well, triple front line and triple sunders. Let's be realistic. I call that an issue from Sanguine, relying on the quote OP item sunder versus team relics and like a sprint or a shell like Bologna got murdered in. So, I mean, I'll criticize the relic selection. So I'll criticize the 3 sunders. I get what they're supposed to do, but yeah.
I guess that's the question I want to ask. What would you rather take instead of the 3 sunders?
A shell, a sprint again, like Bologna has here, Murder has, even maybe another slow, get a weakening, or get a horrific curse, anything. Team relics, yes, Sunder is quote unquote a team relic, but when you're not fighting as a team, they're useless. So, what are you really doing when you get getting picked? You end up having 3 Sunders, and there's really nothing you can do there.
Either way, we got to move on to the next game. So we'll be right back with more SMITE action. Do stay tuned. This is European Challenger Circuit, week 1 of the summer split. We'll be right back. And we're right back into the action as Sanguine Esports and New Game Plus are playing a best of 2. Thank you for correcting me there on that one as well. Last time, Bologna support did some wonders. It did some crazy wonders in that game, and I'm wondering how much that was Murder just being a god at his role, and how much that was Bologna actually being an amazing support.
A little bit of both, man, when it comes down to it. So as a Sanguine walked into a lot of those, we were kind of talking about it off. The fact is that they were just too grouped, able to get multiple Eagles rallies. The stun really led Repicos into the ability to just take over the game.
It was just phenomenal play by that jungle support duo right there. So I want to say, what is Sanguine's response to this one going to be here? As I think they've just reset back in that strong mentality here, and they're a veteran team. They know how to pull back and look at what they can change here to go into this. What do they do to adjust?
Put the assassin into the jungle. Like Erlang Shen, yeah, he's good and all, but there's a reason why Ravana is the selection normally and not Erlang. Erlang just doesn't have that pure early kill potential early on. He does have some, but let's be realistic. There's nothing like getting rooted by Ravana, punched in the face, and then sundered. That's what equals death. I mean, Erlang just doesn't have that potential, that combination of abilities. He's got a great cripple root effect, but Soul doesn't really need that help or that setup. It's not like they had a snipe-based character.
They just didn't really actually colleagues with that cripple, with that taunt. We saw the Sunbreak from Hu Yi, and it almost worked. However, there just wasn't that big final damage to actually secure the kills for them. And unfortunately, I think that was just like the one big comp issue they had. So I don't know. What are we going to see to actually correct this here? I'm pretty sure we're going to see an Osiris again.
This is a rinse and repeat right now.
All right. I'm not seeing the picks and bans actually on my pick and bans.
Oh, I got you. I got you right here. Yeah. I mean, unless Less Production's messing with us and they're just giving us the same picks and bans, it's Terra Circuit from Sanguine. Fafnir and Ravana got taken off the board from New Game Plus. First selection from Sanguine was Osiris. They first picked that one more time. Thoth is going to go ahead and get grabbed along with Kernanos for New Game Plus. So the first 3 picks, exactly the same.
Well, if it worked, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Well, this time Nemesis is going to get locked in for Sanguine, understanding that they're going to end up needing a better assassin in the jungle role to sit there and do that. But again, Nemesis has that ticker on her. She's still a little bit more effective in the late game, and Sanguine is going to lock in the Bologna before the third pick, which means, well, copycat league much. This has to be going to the support. You have an Osiris, there is a Bologna.
It's a good way to just take it out of the enemy's hands. If you don't want to ban it, if you don't want to put it in somebody else's hands, just take it away from them instantly. That way they don't have it. Now you've got a huge power pick here, and like I said, they can put it straight in the duo lane here. It seemed to work well, and if this is actually something that Sanguine has practiced, then I can see it working out pretty heavily. As we saw the potential for it. We may have doubted it at first, but
I don't know.
The potential is clearly there.
I don't know if Sanguine's practiced it. That's where I come into it. Taking someone else's homework and copying it is great and all, but it doesn't mean you understand the material. And that is a question.
It's great for like the homework. I mean, yeah, you get easy homework done. Don't have to worry about it. You're good to go. But when it comes to the exam, the big moment that matters, the game, it's not enough to just like have seen the material and not understand it, like you said.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, good luck to Sanguine pulling this out. I thought it was a wild card pickup.
I want to think they can do it.
Yeah, I want to see it work out. I think that will end up being really helpful as the next bans come through. New Game Plus didn't want to deal with the Soul. Soul just has an extra. You don't want to deal with this Apparate. Just an annoying ability. They'll also get rid of the Vulcan. That would have helped out with Objective Secure. I mean, right now, Sanguine has options for the mid lane. They can go in a lot of directions if they want to sustain with the Ra. Or even go a little bit more damage, or even early game with Isis. I mean, Sanguine has the world.
I want to see something that brings a lot of burst. I want to see something that can just hit hard, fast, and bring a lot of damage to the table here. It doesn't have to like start off super strong. All right, there we go. That'll be Scylla.
Well, I mean, they've got the Bologna, so if they're able to work in any sort of conjunction with an Eagles rally into a Scylla Ama monster, that is going to be death. Because most players do not purify Eagles rally. Most players accept the fact that they're going to get stunned a lot of times, unless there is some sort of other setup. Now, if they're both primed up with Ama Monster and the Eagles rally, obviously you have to beat /Aegis that ability. But pre-level 12, you're only going to have one of those relics. So Scylla, Pretty Pan, really has to make it happen.
Pretty Pan is going to be one of the, I believe it's going to be like Pretty Pan and Meowth will be the linchpins for whether or not Sanguine will pull it off here. And that's a lot of pressure on the new players of your roster.
On her?
This is going to be showtime for them, I'd say. Okay, on her for Repicos.
I mean, okay. Look, Repicos is, as I said,
he's the guy who pulled out Ul Jungle.
This is the guy that loves Hunter's Jungle. He's played Uller. He's played a couple of other hunters in the jungle role. I mean, hey, why not the on her? I mean,
I'll roll with it. I'll roll with it. Let's see what he does with it.
And this is, you got to understand, as you said, it's a 2-game set. New Game Plus has already secured themselves 1 point. So, it's not being a best of 3 that this is somewhat of a gamble that you could end up splitting with Sanguine when you probably want to go ahead and put them on the bottom as fast as possible to kind of get yourself up. But hey, if you're going to bring out the spice, bring out the spice. You brought the Bologna last game, bring out the On Her Jungle.
I guess my question is, what does On Her Jungle really bring to the table here? We've seen Replicas play these weird junglers here, but they usually, like, when you look at them in hindsight, they bring something pretty decent to the table, and you can see why they work. What does On Her bring here for
it's the jump plus the knockup. I mean, the knockups are the best sort of CC in the game by any imagination. The fact is, once he hits level 3, or level 4, depending on how he wants to level his abilities, but once he gets jump, pillar, and all that, he can come around from the jungle, just jump on top of you, and then knock you into his team. I mean, a good On Her will use the impale to shove you toward the team, into a wall, or even a pillar to sit there and move around. I mean, look, Replicas' amazing walls on Thor. I can only imagine how these pillars are going to look.
True. Not to mention, he has so much extra pressure in these jungle fights here. That impale in the jungle is even more dangerous than it could be.
He's wrecking them
here.
He's level 2.
He's just going toe-to-toe with everybody here. He and Karo are doing a great job actually fighting them off here. A good crush will do some damage here, but Karo will immediately sanctuary it there. It's slowed out by default. They can't quite tag the blue buff, but they do take away both of the little minions in favor of New Game Plus here, and already they're starting to pull up these very little advantages that can add up.
There's the jump by Replicas. This was expecting, but no impale directly into the wall as the fall ended up getting away. I was kind of curious if he leveled up his jump or not. He did. Nothing gonna happen, but in the dual lane, there seems to be a little bit of love.
A little bit of love here and a little bit of danger. Game Hunter will slip away out the back here. Murder holding attention in the wave and looking them in the eye. Meowick rather low this time around here. Mark the Golden Crow onto Joshy, trading in shots here, and they're going to back away from this fight here as Joshy just can't really deal out the damage. Needs to focus on that wave here as they're getting shoved into their own tower, and that's dangerous in this dual lane.
Well, this is kind of what we saw Sanguine do to New Game Plus when they had the Bologna. I mean, Bologna was kind of about this hell. The shove seemed about the same, but again, Sanguine, can they get past this stage like New Game Plus was able to?
That's the big question here, but I think the big thing going in their favor of New Game Plus is the fact that they're trading incredibly well onto Joshy, and Joshy just cannot afford to really walk up to that wave right there. Every time he does, we see Murder charge forward and put the hurt on him. Last time it was a Kefir, but this time around, it's an Athena. She's a very, very big enabler, especially for Sarunos.
Yeah, I mean, Athena is just, I love Athena. She falls in and out of the meta a lot of the times because, the only thing she does is, quote, taunt. Shield wall is okay.
She also hurts.
Slow. Yeah, I mean, if you can land that ultimate, like, there's nothing better than jumping on top of, like, your Scylla or anybody, or your Rama that's, anything that's going on in the air, or you're running around and just crashing down and doing, like, 700 damage late game.
Not to mention that shield wall early on is going to do a lot of damage here. It's one of the reasons I'm actually very fond of Athena in both like this role in dual lane and both solo role. She does a lot of damage. She's deceptively powerful, very mobile, and early on she's going to be able to enable almost anybody in the game to gank, fight, destroy, and just shove in and put the pressure to them. And I don't see any breathing room for Sanguine to actually happen here, so they're going to have to actually make their own breathing room.
This Athena pick was perfect into the Bologna as Replicas in the mid lane got Pretty Pan. Yeah, that must have been the jump over the wall into the kill as, ultimate was expended. Kiro still has his available. Ended up missing that action, but it looked pretty standard for Replicas as he's full HP.
Yeah, it looks like the standard Replicas. Just jump in, destroy somebody, wall them off, leave them no real room to escape, and then just ulti their faces in immediately here. As that Desert Fury deals an absolute ton of damage at level 5, so I guess it's not really surprising On Her actually just abused that spike as soon as he gets it out of the jungle.
Well, he at level 6. I mean, look, in the mid lane, Pretty Pan, I don't know what's going on, but he's level 5. He just now hits 5 after he got some creeps.
He got pressured out really hard.
Yeah, it just wasn't able to do a lot. And honestly, again, talking about the Bologna pickup into this dual lane, the taunts, like Athena's taunt just stops that bludgeon, so they're not able to clear nearly as effective as, New Game Plus was able to do last time around. So a little bit of an interesting aspect here. Game Hunter not going to be able to defend this red buff, I would imagine, unless he gets a really good... Oh, Eagles Rally misses. I mean, that's Eagles Rally misses.
Right there. Eagles Rally not going to hit there. Lowish cooldown, so it's going to be back up soon enough here, but Game Hunter going to spot them, going for the red buff. Karo had to back off as well, so this should be a sure thing for Sanguine, but they don't quite have to know that. Actually, they do have a ward in the mid lane, so they probably did see Karo back. Sarunos tossing the damage here. Meowick is so low. Joshy going to look to trade in here. He's going to play that one out perfectly here. Let Meowick finish it off. He'll make it back in time to secure the red buff. So a good steal away from Sanguine. And
on the right-hand side, though, the full gets impaled. Replicas is going to jump on in here. Does he have the ultimate available? No, not quite yet. Looking for one more auto. The full will get the kill, and Kiro will get the return, though.
He gets the retaliation here, but Magikarp walking into a rough spot versus Replica, stunned into the wall after being taken out by Karo. That's a big combo there. Karo gets a double at sub 5 minutes in on Thought, and this is a dangerous, dangerous proposition now for Sanguine Esports here. They got the kill they wanted here. They got the first blood on the murder, but at what cost is the question?
This is the Caro and Reppy show. At obviously the last game, these guys ended up taking about 7 to 10 minutes to get online. But once more, the 3 kills on the board, the double kill going to the mid laner, and then one more going over the Repicas earlier on in the game, giving these 2 players 3 kills total. I mean, hey, look, if you're going to get kills on the board, you want your jungler and you want your mid laner to get as ahead and as quickly as possible in this game to sit there and keep the momentum up.
And that's just going to enable all of your other carries to just go completely nuts here. Game Hunter has absolutely no pressure on him to actually really have to do anything crazy here. He's got all the time in the world he needs to farm because his mid laner and his jungler are in such huge positions of power. They can run away with the game here. And as a Game Hunter, he's just there to clear up the tires if he needs to here. He can show up for the fights. He can drop the massive damage of Cernus. He's got nothing really to fear here from Sanguine. That's just the perfect position to be in as the AD carry, I'd imagine.
You gotta love it, when you're gonna sit there and kind of just throw away from the side. And, but the dash, Magikarp has to dash away. You should be able to get away here. No real issues. Again, you'll see the 2v3 in the mid lane. On her though, Repicas gonna get the elementals or the I guess they're still called the Ellies, the Gremlins, whatever you want to call them today. He'll get us a little bit more experience for that man, and really he's just doing a great job farming. He's level 7 in the hunter jungle role. I mean, that alone is a surprise.
I mean, who's the real hunter here on New Game Plus? That's my question. Who is the real hunter here now?
I mean, Game
It's
Hunter
always been Repicas.
It has always been Repicas. I mean, the Uller, all that stuff. I mean, Game Hunter just kind of plays whatever. A very long-range ultimate. Game Hunter is going to end up throwing out the Wild Hunt just to sit there and disperse everybody away. But Loda coming from the side, have to watch out. Eagles Rally is good, but the taunt helps out.
Yeah, an immediate taunt keeping him safe here. Game Hunter going to get sniped out possibly here. Dodges the first and second here. Will the third connect? No, it does not. But the bludgeon going to connect, taking down. Meowth will secure the kill here, but now Carol finals him up the wall. Hits all 3 massive damage there. Mike the Magic are going to survive. There was not Pretty Pan on the run here. Cannot keep the fight here. Repicas in for the shot. Can he find the Impale Pillar? Ready to land here. Does find Meowth. Desert Fury on the one here. Doesn't find the kill with it. Now he's going to get bludgeoned out here. Does find the kill in the end, but Repicas is the one to secure it here. Meowth, unfortunately, despite finding the kill, will be the one to fall, and Sanguine Esports sent hurling away from the duo lane here. And now New Game Plus can do whatever they want here. Moving the jungle here. Repicas sees the low members, gets crushed out, but still jumping forward. Has no mana, but he's still fighting. This is going to get punished pretty hard with a Pretty Pan here. And you do not want to let Scylla find any way in this game here, but now Murder showing up to back up his jungler carry there. And we're going to see New Game Plus walk away from the danger. But Sanguine Esports are actually clawing back this time around.
That could have been so much worse for Sanguine. That final judgment was amazing. I mean, it's everybody. They walk into it. Reppy's coming from the side. I thought he's going to get at least a double kill. Thank goodness he gets one for the trade. But when it comes down to it, Sanguine walked away. That could have been a lot worse for Sanguine there.
Like, that was actually one of the best snipes I've seen in my time casting Smite. I don't know. This might even beat this might even beat Man Ray's like cross map Giannis snipe.
That was. I mean, look, to hit Final Judgment and hit 3 members like that,
like
just
in a line perfectly.
Look, tic-tac-toe, baby. They got it all in a row. They hit it up. That was done. They sit there, they knock out the 3. I mean, look, the bottom line is they lose 1 member still, but Murder did everything he can. I mean, the play was still great from both sides. I mean, regardless, 9 minutes in the game, there's still not a goal fear that got taken.
The big difference is the fact that this time around, Sanguine Esports are clawing back for every little fight here, and they're making New Game Plus fight a lot harder for every little inch they might want to gain here. And this is going to be huge for them actually pulling out the game here, as we will see finals come on through, but Pretty Pan going to obliterate Kara right there. Meowth actually setting up some really huge plays this time around here. We're going to see Murder attempt to find the fight for his team, goes towards Joshy, holding off on any kind of taunt there, and we will see Joshy walk away. Pillar coming down here, but immediate mobility used by every member on Sanguine who has it available to escape from the slow, reduce all risk of getting Pillar stunned here. They do not want to get caught out even under their own tower.
They're still going to go for the Oracles, though, over here, New Game Plus at least. I don't think they have a chance truly for the Goal Fury with Caro down, but they are going to set up this bait. There's a taunt. It's going to not. Oh, it hit Pretty Pan, though, and all of a sudden, he has to go over the wall. That Wild Hunt takes just a second to charge, unable to make the Scylla polymorph into the Warthogs or the Pigs, and I'll walk away just fine.
Like, I mean, you got away, and that's what matters. But it was a pretty close call there for Pretty Pan. I got to say, this game around, he's doing a lot better on the Scylla. He seems a lot more comfortable with his God pick here.
The Scylla is, I love Scylla. I think she's mobile. Josh, he forced out to use the purification beads, and now, yeah, they will have that target on lock. They know for 160 seconds there is no relic available on that carry. Look for when Kiro ends up getting this final judgment back and available them to try to force the Gold Fury with no beads on the carry. They can easily go ahead and make this happen with Murder being able to taunt them into some danger.
And they're just going to escape from every kind of danger here. And the big thing that New Game Plus is going to favor is that even approaching them is dangerous. However, Sanguine doing a job of actually finding the proper approaches this time around here, especially against such a hard to approach team comp.
I mean, as far as like when you got Murder taunting, I mean, he's able to get rid of the bludgeons. He can get rid of Magikarp to sit there when he's dashing forward. I mean, the taunt is underrated. I mean, it might be, quote, the only thing Athena brings to the table as far as hard CC goes, but it's the best, it's the best thing in the world, as we do see Sanguine going to play the aggressor here. 4 members attempting to go Fury. Eagles rally over the top.
On the one here, Murder also will get caught out by the Nemesis ultimate there, but he's not going to get followed up on in any way here. And Sanguine Esports, despite finding the shots here, won't really find enough follow-up here. Mike the Magikarp gets forced away from the fight by getting stunned and just peppered by damage from Thoth here, and he's going to be forced to walk away here. And Sanguine Esports, despite having the chance, are going to be pushed away from the Gold Fury, and now New Game Plus going to call them to action here by going straight for the Gold Fury. Sanguine knows exactly what's happening here, and they're just stuff. They're in a really tough spot to actually respond here.
Oh, I don't really. The pluck is great. No more bludgeon. Mel's gonna fall, but Pretty Pan is gonna get the Ama Monster. No reset though after the second attempt. Game Hunter, they end up rating out the 1-for-1.
Yeah, get the 1-for-1. Now looking for more. Tether actually should detonate on Repicos. He's holding that jump. Will pop the Aegis just in time. Safe and sound. Pretty Pan gonna get absolutely obliterated though as Repicos jumps straight towards him. Osiris still on the hunt. Taunt keeping the Hunter safe here, but Mike the Magikarp will secure the kill at the end of the day. Now over the wall is Thoth, raining in his shots, trying to get revenge, but he just can't quite find it here. Sanguine actually pulling out a 2-for-3 trade at the end of the day.
I mean, again, it's all really about Caro here, man. He used the final judgment early in the engagement, and normally I'm all about. I was a little bit worried. I was gonna be like, man, if they lose this Gold Fury here, it's because Kiro doesn't have anything to secure it with. But he used it really early in that engagement. He got a lot of damage on Joshi on the Rama early on, so all of a sudden Joshi had to play back. Then, as you saw the whole time, Mio was low. It really just turned to this game of the poke game from New Game Plus was just better, and then Sanguine just kept deciding to try and fight it. And then really it just kind of led to New Game Plus getting a couple more kills in that engagement. It still ends up being not the worst trade. I mean, it's still 5-7. They're only down 2 kills and about 1,000 gold. But New Game Plus still comes out a little bit on the advantage there.
Yeah, it's a trade and it's a sign of life, which is important for this team right here. They need to show those signs of life. They need to keep showing that they can keep fighting here. And this time around, they're showing that they're going to bleed for. They're going to make the enemy team bleed for every little bit they want. Saw a little bit of posturing around the Portal Demon, but nothing really to show they're actually going to commit to a fight just yet.
Yeah, I mean, with the Gold Fury still available, you don't see many teams electing to go Portal into Gold, as everyone now, I mean, all of a sudden, Final Judgment is available. So is Desert Fury. This could be the final. Oh, the Eagles rally over the top. Is going to stun through. The Crush is going to eliminate Repicos, and there goes the Ama Monster, but that just going to barely miss.
Yeah, not tagging the kill there. Mike the Magikarp in position, actually locked people down with his slows. Doesn't quite need to, though. And now we're going to see Sanguine Esports making the right call here, going straight for the real objective right now. We are going to see New Game Plus actually stick around. They have enough health on some key members to stay on the fight. So this might just be Oracles going for New Game Plus, but this is going to be a split 1-1 for New Game Plus on the Oracles, and Sanguine taking one of them as well. Rom popping the ultimate right there, actually assuming the enemy team was going to chase, but he's fine, and Dandy is now, after seeing Sanguine back away, well, New Game Plus back away, Sanguine making the call for it. He can steal it. He's hanging back just enough. This is a really dangerous spot. Charging up, fires it in, and boom! Caro gets it across the map. Sanguine not securing the man who can steal it away there, and that got a sting.
You cannot. That's SMITE 101, man. What did I say earlier? What did I say earlier? I was like, oh, if they lose this Gold Fury, it's going to be because Kiro doesn't.
You're going to do that, you need to know.
In this, Pretty Pan used his ultimate way early in the engagement, and again, I don't disagree with that. They get a kill. They get the kill on Repicos, or I should say Basque. They're able to turn that around, but without a Scylla ultimate to secure and Kiro's up, you just can't do that.
You just can't afford to make those risky plays here, especially without having anybody healthy enough to actually zone away the big threats of New Game Plus right there. They had to have, I guess they assumed he was backing off right there, but I mean, they had a ward up closer to that side. I don't know. I could have sworn they actually had spotted him at some point on the minimap, but I can't
be
the
last person to spot him was probably Joshi, who hit 2 out of 3 snipes and was like,
That's true.
I poked him out a little bit.
They probably assumed he backed off after that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a Thoth. He has the glyph. He has the wall. He has an ultimate that can go a ridiculously amount of range, and well, he proved it right there. An easy steal. I mean, that wasn't even a hard steal. That was pretty simple.
Yeah, I mean, it was just one of those obvious, like, okay, thoughts set up. And now Meowit getting picked off by that pillar right there. Nobody really close up to follow up, but Replicas will put some damage on there. Pretty Pants, the real one, should be worried. Immediately beats and jumps away from that fight. And now on the back foot is Sanguine, just kind of reeling from that one. They're not too far behind after that. They're not too far behind after that at all. So
they're behind. They're behind, in my opinion, only
they're behind enough to work.
Well, one more time, 3 Sunders. Kiro's going to come on, and he won't get the connection there on top of the full. But again, with 4 members here, I mean, what is this Osiris going to do? Yeah, he's forced to ult out. Tier 1 on the right-hand side should end up falling here, I'd imagine. Now, it looks like, yeah, they're going to just kind of poke this out. But again, one more time, we're going for 3 Sunders. I mean, this is greedy. I mean, 3 Sundering Spears is just not something, yeah, it gets talked about, but we're showing it here that it's not truly as effective as everyone says.
I mean, I think it's incredibly effective in the right situations, and unfortunately, they just don't have any of the right situations here. Sanguine Esports can just never really find the chances here. Like we see, they're burning through Replicas incredibly easy there with the Sunders here, but Replicas still gets away right there. New Game Plus have been able to avoid most situations that Sanguine Esports can use on them to actually just completely destroy some of your Caro should fall here. Actually, just gets out of crush range. I'm a Monster Dust tag. Jumps forward right back into the crush there, and that's going to be a kill. Go in the way of Mike the Magikarp as Caro bites the dust right there. Vastical also picks off Meowit in the duo lane here. They're just pushing things down here. Game Hunter looking for a kill right here. He's up in the air, but it's just a delaying tactic. Hits a few snipes there. Almost finds the return here, but Vastical was waiting and ready to just destroy him as soon as he landed.
These Sunders are baiting them so hard because while you were like, oh, on the right-hand side, they Sunder Replicas, he's really low. And then what happened? They ended up losing somebody on the right-hand side. Left-hand side over here, Joshi or, Mio, he sits there and Sunders out Game Hunter and is really, really low. They decide to press forward. All of a sudden, Bass shows up, is able to help him out, and they get a kill. And it's like these Sunders, they're using them, they're getting the damage, but they're just not able to actually get the kills off.
You can have all the setup in the world, but if you can't follow up on it, it doesn't matter. And that's the problem here with the 3 Sunders for Sanguine Esports here. They have good setup, they're using it, but they're not following up on it like they need to, or using it at the right times to follow up on it, it seems.
I just, like I said, I don't get, I understand having at least 1 Sunder in your lineup. I understand that as Replicas is setting up for a nice jump over the wall. Not going to do anything, though, as the wave is cleared. Wards will end up showing exactly where they're at here by the portal beam, but they'll end up clearing that one out. And we'll counter Ward here on the bottom side of the map as, again, 3 members from Blue Sanguine trying to group up, make something happen here. As we take a look at the graphs, I mean, it's only a 2,700 gold lead and about a 1,400 experience lead. I mean, by no means, again, is this game, like, over. I mean, 7-10, but it just feels like Sanguine is just always in the wrong spot.
And now we're going to see Meowit also in the wrong spot once again here. Replicas starting to pick up. He's going for the aggressive engagement. It's nobody on the Eagles rally. Replicas knocks him aside with his dispersion right there as well. And that's going to be a full-on disengage from New Game Plus here in Sanguine Esports. Just kind of left looking for something, anything. They might find Game Hunter, but he's still got that mobility. He's got Athena. He's going to get out of this one pretty handily, I'd say. Athena comes crashing on Mike the Magikarp. Shield's a little bit late there. Brambles down, and out here is Joshi taking so much first. Desert Fury finishes the job before he goes up in the air as well. Now Mike the Magikarp 1 hit away from death. Dispersion connects, lands, and destroys. Looking for that triple kill is Replicas. He beats us for the safety and the extra CD reduction there. Turns back on a Pretty Pan right where Replicas wants him, hunting him down, traps him with that pillar right there. That move speed from a monster here will keep Pretty Pan safe. He goes for the shot, but can't go for the kill. And Caro wipes the rest of them out here. Last man standing, just a fool, but he's going toe-to-toe with the Soul Laner, and he might actually lose that 1v1.
The power of Athena's global rotation. Let's be realistic here. Game Hunter is out of position. For all intents and purposes, Game Hunter is way too far pushed up. He's near the other purple buff. So he sits there, ends up fighting, uses the Wild Hunt ability. All of a sudden, now it ends up being a disadvantage for Joshi. He backs up. But then there comes Mike the Magikarp. He's coming over the top for this flank attempt. Quick Aegis and an Athena ultimate turns that whole engagement around.
And unfortunately, at that point, there just wasn't much they could do. As here, they burned a lot into a target who just wasn't taking that much damage here, and had most of it just turned completely around. And his Vastical will finish off to full at the end of the day in the extended 1v1 here. And unfortunately, just baiting all that into here and all inning, but not finding anything, and then keeping in the fight, that's just going to cost you the fight entirely here once New Game Plus arrives in force and turns it around on you.
It also cost him about nearly 8,000 gold. Well, about 7,000 gold, as now when we look at the graphs, 8,700 experience plus 8,700 gold plus. I mean, this was just less than 2K a little while ago, and all of a sudden, one team fight, I mean, Game Hunter being, quote, out of position, but an Athena ultimate for murder turns the whole engagement around. And now we're looking at a near 9,000 gold lead. I mean, it was just completely flipped.
Yeah, and this is pretty dangerous here as now. We will see the push forward here. Meowth will actually land a good stun to Murder, possibly forcing him to disengage here, but Karo commits to the fight. Murder's still alive, actually tanking them up quite nicely. Drops the shield while letting Karo just reign in death and destruction. Will finally start to walk away here as New Game Plus got exactly what was going on here. While you were playing around in the mid lane, they were getting busy trying to take out other targets here, and they got the Fire Giant, and now they've got a great shot towards this tier 1 and tier 2 here. DeFull gets picked off and destroyed. Vastful, another pull in. Meowth has nowhere to run, tries to fight back, but he's just going to fall. Joshi, only man standing, doing the only thing you can do right now and split pushing forward that possible Phoenix, but somebody's going to back off and take him out, while New Game Plus going to lose their tier 2 tower for sure here.
Yeah, I mean, tier 2 gone. All of a sudden, look, there's one thing that support like dying for more than a gold period, and that's dying for the Fire Giant. I mean, absolutely baited. They don't even know Fire Giant's really happening here, and they just sit there. One Kiro gets a kill. Like, that's just, you know, hats off to him for fighting it through, all of a sudden able to get that kill. But with 2 Hunters plus Sobek tanking it, I mean, that was an easy Fire Giant takedown for the Game Plus.
And it's going to continue to get worse and worse from here, as now Sanguine Esports are in that difficult place of being 10,000 gold behind, 20 minutes in. They got to keep fighting here, as this is game 2, and this is the one that determines whether or not there are 0 points in the first week of Challenger Circuit or have at least 1 point here. But at the same time, what can they realistically do here? They're at that point where we just generally agree this is almost the point of no return in SMITE here. They do find a possible pick on the Karo, but they just can't quite find the secure there.
I mean, again, one more time, Athena going to come into the fray, and, well, Murder's here now and can easily make a nice little taunt if it has to be, but Kiro's charging that final judgment up. We'll connect on it, not going to get too much damage, but the Ama monster misses. Well, the snipes hit one more. Kiro will fall from the likes of Joshi, but it still can favor the aspects of New Game Plus when they've got some low members on Sanguine.
Got some low members here, but Vaz will go and get picked off here. This is a really good fight from Sanguine right now.
Turning it around.
Here, Murder is a little bit deep here, but they need to back away before this fight gets too dangerous here, as the rest of the big carries are arriving. Game Hunter gets 1, looking for his second. Full 3 and 4 is just completely ignoring Meowth because he brings nothing to the table here. Joshi, the squishy target, exposed and destroyed, and Game Hunter picks up a double kill right here, and they needed to walk away from the fight after they won it right there. And unfortunately, the big powerhouses of New Game Plus arrived and just crushed them like a wave.
I mean, 7-2 Replicas in the jungle as an honor, 6-1 Game Hunter right now, both with Fire Giant buff. Yeah, you needed to step away from the big boys. I mean, that you just got postered in the lane right there.
But they stayed too long.
Yeah, that's the equivalent of just getting like stiff armed and just straight up trucked in like the NFL for a touchdown. I mean, you were doing great all of a sudden, and then you just got embarrassed because you just got overstepped. I mean, there was really, they got the kills. They should have backed up a little bit back to the tier 2 tower and really defended it. They're not able to do that. They get over aggressive because they got the tunnel vision, and will the 2 Hunters make a pay?
Yeah, and that is going.
And look at Reppy's build. What is this build?
It is amazing. That is all I can say. I mean, you got the Runeforge combo. We've seen that come out a lot for quite a few hunters here. And on a jungle hunter, I think that's actually a really solid idea here. Let him get that extra bit of tankiness for himself while still providing plenty of CC. He's got the pillar for CC as well. It just works really, really well for on her, I'd say.
Well, I mean, look, that Runeforge, enemies taken by, you know, this is also slow. Like, you know, if they're...
You got his pillar slow.
You got pillars.
So stun into a wall.
You've also got his passive. You know, he hits you and takes protections away. He's doing more damage that way. This Runeforge
He's got every tool he needs to make it work, especially with the added fact of you've got taunt from Athena, you've got a stun from Thought, you've got slows from Sobek for days, and his pluck, you've got his knockup. You have every tool you need to just make that item beyond what it is currently here. As actually a great bit of burst coming through from Sanguine Esports here, pushing the fight back on New Game Plus here, pushing them away from the Phoenix there. Good kill for Joshi. Now Game Hunter diving into the back here will finish off the Fool as he dove a bit too deep there. Game Hunter getting pressured out there. Big crush will force away the Aegis, and Game Hunter backs away from the party before it gets too dangerous here. But Joshi taking way too much damage, rolls away for dear life in a 1-for-1 trade. Going well for Sanguine Esports here, but if New Game Plus get this Phoenix, it's going to be good for them here, and they should secure it. Actually, no, pushed away by Sanguine for now, but it should still be a sure thing for them. And there we go.
I mean,
Phoenix
this
now.
is the power of having 2 tanks. When you have 2 Guardians, you have Vask on this Sobek, and you have Murder on the Athena. This is the power you get. They're able to still push. Okay, one of our supports fell. Not the worst thing in the world. We still have another Guardian. Plus, we have 2 hyper carry 80 carries right now in Replicas on the Honor, and obviously Game Hunter on the Kernernos. It's not a big deal for them to sit there and lose 1. Plus, they also traded out those Cyrus, and Athena comes right back in with ultimate support.
And now they also have 4 limit against, so they can back off, buy items, secure every little power spike they can get here, as they've got plenty of gold to spend on some major items here. And now, despite the fact that Sanguine is probably going to get this gold fury, I don't think New Game Plus is too worried about losing that here.
I know they're
especially with Fire Giant on the table here, Portal Demon up and ready. This can be an immediate call from New Game Plus, and
yeah,
Sanguine needs to. They got to know what's happening right now. As Fire Giant is about to respawn in the next few seconds.
I mean, I think they know they want a 4-man split of back camp. That's about it. But all of a sudden, I mean, Defall, he's just gonna end up getting shoved into a wall. He's gonna have to ult out, even if he has a chance. No, doesn't even. Well, his ult was down. Can't even ult out, and he understood it. Pressing the space bar. That's kind of the general rule of thumb. When you're dead, you just jump.
This has to show Sanguine exactly what's happening right here, and I guess the question is, do they have anything they can actually even respond with here? Scylla's too far away to be honest. Yeah, it's game over there with the Fire Giant, so they're going to have to back away from that one here. And now Sanguine, they have to play an absolutely pitch-perfect defense here to survive these next few minutes.
I think it's really good and important to note, like you said. I mean, the goal fury at 25 minutes is normally an objective that a lot of people in my casual games still want to fight over. I'm cool with that if the game's close. This was a game that was, 10, 12,000 gold. We don't necessarily need that 23-minute, 24-minute goal fury when we can just go ahead and stomp Fire Giant like we just did. So, understanding where you're at in the game and what your lead is, because a lot of times you can throw those fights and that can really turn, as the Phoenix on the right-hand side will end up falling pretty easily. Nemesis is going to ult Replicas, but I don't really see this happening. Going to get stunned back into the wall. And yeah, they're just kind of cleaning up here to Game Plus.
And cleaning up here, Phoenix down. That's 2 down as well. A big pick from Basketball on the Meowth right there. And they're just washing over Sanguine Esports right now. We're going to see Carol pick off Pretty Pan. The Fool in deep, and he will get impaled right into a wall and fall. Josh, the only one to survive, and barely does so. We'll get finished off by the Brown Patch being tossed in by Ceranos here. They're diving under the tower right here. I think she's going to try to end the game right there. Murder will get murdered by the fountain right there. And this is going to call for Titan here. And
did you see what Bass did?
Yep. Baited outside by your own team.
He dove into the tower to get a pluck, and then Murder lands in tower.
Baited by your own team.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it was Murder most foul right there. I gotta say here, as he just baited him right into that. I think that was the whole point of just killing Murder right there.
That might have been actually Bass. That's dirty, man.
Like I said, Basketball has unlocked the hidden stat in Smite, team kill. It's a hidden stat. You don't see it, but he has it now.
Achievement unlocked. Again, 3 Sunders. I'll just point that out. That's the first thing that stands out to me. Like when I go to the next screen and I'm looking at builds, these builds don't bother me. It's just Sunder, 1 shell. It's like, you got Sprint and Sunder to help with slows. You got beads, you got Aegises, and even the Bracer of Undoing is like not a bad option, versus like, the Sunder. But I don't know.
I don't think Sunder was the problem here for Sanguine Esports. I think they had the tools they needed here, and it was a good idea to have them actually just set up their burst. Like the problem was they were never really in that good position they needed to actually follow up on the burst they set up. You can have all the good tools in the world, but if you can't actually put them to use, it doesn't matter. And that was the big unfortunate thing I think that happened there.
Again, looking at the charts, I mean, Replicas with 22,000, Kiro with 25, Game Hunter with 22. Really, no one on the other squad of Sanguine even coming above 15,000. Mike the Magikarp right below that number. So, yeah, I mean, the damage was just on New Game Plus aside. They're able to take the victory relatively easily, right around that 10-minute mark once they got that nice little team fight.
Either way, we're going to get ready to move on here, as we do have Novus Orso facing off against another big team coming in here from the upper SPL, I believe. So, this is going to be fun to watch here. I believe it's actually Novus Orso versus Plan B here. So this is actually a match I'm kind of excited to watch. So Frey, any final thoughts before we move on?
No, I mean, I think this was a good game. New Game Plus showing that they did their homework. Sanguine just has a lot of positioning work to do, in my opinion. But, I mean, they can get there. I mean, like I said, so I mean, they've got time to still make this happen.
It's week 1 of the Thunder Circus. They got plenty of time to improve, get ready, because the main goal for most teams right now should be getting into the SPL here. And this is all just a road and a way to improve there. But now we're going to go for the next game here. We'll be right back in a few minutes, so do stay tuned. This is the European Challenger Circuit, week 1 of the Summer Split. We'll be right back.
That's right. Now you hear me? Tell them, madman.